even quote, but just my advice of the day is think when you're going through any situation in life, think about your perspective, because your perspective is what controls everything in this world. Now, especially when you're going through, like, maybe let's say I'm arguing with this person. Am I putting myself in their shoes to understand why they feel some type of way? Or am I just thinking of only my perspective is the only right perspective? So I would say just try and change your perspective, because everything in this life is perspective. Excuse me. You can't there's nothing, think anything, just think anything is perspective. It's just how you feel. Like, for example, me not having the most money right now, I could be like, dang, I really wish I was rich. I would just be so happy if I was rich. But then a rich person is looking at me and is like, dang, I really wish I didn't have to be careful every time I walk out and go to the movies. I wish I didn't have to pay so many in taxes. I didn't have to feed so many people. So it's just like, just control your perspective, because like I said earlier, everything's a good and a bad. So that's what I would say for today.
Turn me up, baby.
I'm up on the speed, come on. Fleeing the scene, come on. She tryna leave, come on. Left with the G's, come on. Smoking the Z, come on. Sipping the tea, come on. Get overseas, come on. Count the peak, come on.
Yo, what's good, everyone? Y'all know what podcast y'all watching. Y'all watching Jayden Hanzy Talks, the best podcast 2022. And today, y'all see the people I got next to me. It's going to be a great conversation today. I got my boy Fraul, my boy T-Ray. But before we get into him, because he's new on the channel, I want to just give you your flowers, Fraul. And we got to speak about the banger episode that we did. That was my second episode, still one of my best episodes today. So I want to say, before you watch this video, you got to go watch that video, because that was a great conversation. We was talking about, we're going to kind of like replicate that conversation, but you got to go watch it for yourself. I ain't even going to speak too much about it. But one, I want you to start off by shouting out yourself. They should already know you, but just start off by saying what you're involved in. Not what you're involved in, but like shout out your social medias and any upcoming projects. So yeah, let us know.
Instagram at FRAOLYAD, Twitter at FRAOL23, Fraul23. And my first EP coming out before the end of the year. So
you heard that. He said end of the year. Caleb Hampton, U2, 3 City J, if you're watching this, U2, we need EPs by the end of the year, but for sure, so EP by the end of the year. And then now let's get into you. So just start off by introducing yourself to the viewers, just because it's your first time on, and then your social medias and what you're involved in and stuff.
So, I go as Teray, main name Raylan, social media, Instagram, Raylan's the one. Other than that, I mean, shit, I put my hand in it all. I'm just trying to find what's for me.
Exactly. That's all you can live in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to spend too much time like speaking about background and stuff like that. If you're interested in that, comment down below any questions you have, or go flood them on their Instagrams. But I kind of want to get straight into the topics. Oh yeah, also y'all should know where to follow me on Instagram and stuff like that. And if y'all hate it if you don't follow all three of us right now, you straight hating. But and if you don't subscribe and like this video and send it to 18 of your friends, you hate them. But basically, getting straight into the topics. Now, like I said at the start, I wanted to kind of replicate the conversation I had with you in our that was my second podcast episode. I want to talk about like spirituality, bettering yourself, the use of social media and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So the first topic I want to talk about is, we spoke about, I'm probably going to say that a lot, but we spoke about it. But I want to talk about social media, start off by talking about social media. So since we already spoke about it, I want to hear your opinion first. What are your thoughts on social media and how it impacts our generation? You know what I'm saying?
Well, shit, I'm a 2000s baby, so like I got to play outside a little bit.
Oh, that's facts. Yeah, that's facts.
So it's like I'm kind of at the yin and yang with it, but as time progresses, I'm seeing as like it's starting to consume me in a sense. Yeah. And it's like that's why I'm having to like detach myself and like do the social media detox. But even doing that is like, what's the use if I'm gonna hop back on? Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like everything in moderation, but then like everybody's so consumed with like social media and like the digitalized world and shit like that, they're not paying attention to the body and like what's going on the plane. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think that is? Like, because I'm kind of in the same boat. I think about that all the time. Like, what's the point of me hopping off social media if I'm going to just hop back on? Why do you think it is like that? It feels like kind of a never-lasting cycle. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, bro, it's always good to see the homies or like somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's facts.
Like,
that's facts. That's
video,
facts.
you know what I'm saying? It's that quick dopamine. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's just like, the whole point behind it is to like get your attention, and like when your attention is here, that means it's not elsewhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just too much, man. Like it's
too
just
much,
a lot of
bro, for
correlations to it too.
I feel you. What about you? What you think on that?
Man, it's crazy because we all know what it's doing to us. Or
But
most
we
of us,
still use it.
hopefully.
Yeah,
I would hope
everyone
most of
at
us-
least by now you should know. But
Yeah, but it's like, I know it's hurting me, but I'm still gonna do it. Like, it's like me going to eat a pizza. I know I shouldn't be eating that, but
you
it's
still
busting.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
nah,
saying?
that's
So-
facts. That's facts.
But I just think it's crazy, like kind of going off what you said about attention. Like, I find myself not being able to just be bored. Like, let's say I'm sitting in a bus or something, right? I won't be able to just sit and look around, look at what I'm driving past. I want to pull out my phone and go on Instagram or whatever. Just that quick dopamine, like you said. Like,
And
that's sad to me.
That's something I've been trying to fix because I'd say for the past 2 years, I've been trying to kind of back up from social media because it's just like, I notice when I'm on it, I'm not expressing my creativity because I'm looking at everybody else, the next person's stuff, right? Yeah. But I've noticed, like, why is it so hard for us? Like you said, let's say I'm on the bus or something, train, plane ride. Why can't I just sit down in silence and be still or go talk to someone random? You know what I mean?
You know what though? I think not even looking at social media, just looking at the person themselves. A lot of people cannot just sit in a room with themselves.
Yeah,
and
nah, that's
just
facts.
be. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
facts.
it
You got to
takes-
do something.
You get what I'm saying? It takes a certain level of like discipline to really be with yourself, and like self-love is a whole different topic, but it's a big like.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
I
into
was
that.
just gonna say that you gotta love yourself to be able to just sit with yourself.
Man,
That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. So, like, but like I was saying, I just think it's so hard, not even hard for me because I'm trying to fix it, but it's like if I'm sitting in my room, whether I got to be looking at my phone, doing something productive, watching TV, playing the game, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I feel like it wasn't always like that. For our parents, I'm sure it wasn't like that. They could go run outside, they could go read a book, you know what I'm saying? But in our in our society, it's like, bro, we're so consumed with social media and things like that. But kind of talking about the next topic I want to talk about is social media. Is it just me, or do I catch myself being on social media and feeling like the stuff that I'm watching is lame? Like, if you just sit down and think about it, what is the point of me taking a picture and posting it and getting likes? What is the point of that? What's the point of that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, are we doing it? Because you can't say you're not doing it for attention. Because
you are.
You are.
definitely for
100%.
attention.
But like why are we living for attention? You know what
But
I'm
hear
saying?
me out though.
You know
Hear me
what
out
I'm
though. Look. I feel like it's also what is it? Is it natural selection or kind of like
It's competition.
you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you
Like
tryna-
that's how you list yourself on the market essentially. Like come on, that's
That's
you
all
want
it
to build a
is.
Nah, that's
roster,
facts.
post a picture and run
That's
up the
facts.
likes.
That's
Like,
facts.
it's just-
That's facts. It's like we're
Yeah.
doing it for attention, but why though?
Satisfaction,
Bro, I ain't gonna lie.
validation.
Is
Validation, but it's literally, I agree, at least from a man perspective, I feel like it's the market thing. You want, if girls see your Instagram, you want them to come across and be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? And
He
be
look
able
good.
to- yeah, he look good. He has something going on. And then even if a dude pulls up on your Instagram, you want him to be like, damn, he's a threat.
yeah, nah, that's
It's-
facts.
It's
That's
always,
facts.
it's
That's
just
facts.
competing with
Nature
everybody.
versus nurture at the end
That's
of the
facts.
day.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say that you use your social medias for specifically? Now, me, I've been trying to find that answer to the question myself, but like as of now, I've been trying to push my brand on social media, and I guess you could kind of say that falls under the getting attention, but it's just like I feel like I would be dumb in this day and age to not push my brand on the easiest platform to find someone, right? But like, how would you guys say you use your social medias to put your image out? Nah, we start right here, or no, we start right here. Are you? Or
I
unless
mean, because you got something similar to that. That's why I'm thinking.
I mean, like, yeah, like how you said, like pushing out your brand. At the end of the day, like, bro, you need money in order to thrive in this world the same way you need air. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, just besides that, like, because I'm passionate about everything I do.
Exactly.
And it's just like, it's good to keep a passion to yourself, but like, just in the economy that we living in, bro, you have to find a way to make a profit off everything.
Right.
So it's like, bro, I'm gonna find a way to expand and build, like, all that. So like, yeah, to push out, but I be posting dumb shit.
I feel like you got to. It's fun
Because
sometimes.
social media is fake, bro. Like that's not.
It's-
real.
yeah, it's
People
not.
taking that
It's
shit
not.
so serious, and it's like, bro, it can be misinterpreted like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because like I like your story, and now you think I'm trying to on you.
Yeah, nah, that's facts. That's
damn
facts.
near
That's
though.
facts. That's facts.
Damn near.
That's fact. I mean, I get what you mean. That's facts though, because people do take it too serious. Like it's really not. It's just people. I feel like people take life too serious in general.
That's a fact though.
People take
That's
life,
a fact though.
bro. If you think about it, let's say I just failed a test, right? Now I gotta take. That's never gonna happen because I'm a great student. But let's say I fail a test, right? Then I flunked the class. I gotta take it again, right? In that moment, it's gonna be like, oh, I'm tweaking out, right? Now I'm graduating. I'm gonna be graduating slower, right? But in 10 years, that's not gonna matter.
At all.
In 50 years, it's not gonna matter.
It's not gonna matter next year.
It's like, and that's how people like treat social media, to where you see people getting in social media beefs, people trying to be something they're not on social media, and it's like, bro, in 10 years, you're gonna look back at those pictures and where you was trying to pose with guns and a stack of cash to impress some women, and you're gonna be like, why was I doing that? There's no point. You know what I mean? You know, am I the only one that thinks like that?
Nah, I agree with you.
Okay, but touching on the like guns and that, I feel like that's more of like a cultural and like proximity thing.
Oh, yeah,
like,
facts.
That's a lifestyle.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? Like that's conditioning. That's years like implemented. You get what I'm saying? So like it's ignorance is bliss, but like when you lack the resources and like the environment around you is just that. I mean, you are what you consume. You
No,
get
that's
what I'm
facts.
saying?
That's facts. And I definitely think you saying that you are what you consumed is big on social media, because some of those people, like I have a lot of people that I know that I've went to school with that were in the same classes as me, and then once we move past high school and stuff, they go down their lanes, which may be a negative drug, gun, gang lane, and I'm going down my lane, which is something positive. I'm making something out of myself. So I think like being you are what you consume is because people a lot of times see rappers on the internet, let's say like Lil Durk, who's rapping about violent stuff all the time, and they like, oh, he's popular, famous, people love him, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna start posting with guns, start just becoming a demonic figure, you know what I'm saying? And that shouldn't be like that. So I like how you said you are what you consume.
And
you know what I mean?
saying that is touching back on like people not really sitting with themselves.
Exactly.
It's, like, lacking identity, therefore you're having to pick. I mean, first of all, identity is just like a mix of everybody, because you are like your experiences. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's like all in all, like you construct who you are, and like just basing it off one person is just like you have to be missing a lot.
And it's definitely, I don't think you could find your identity on social media, personally.
Yeah, no.
It may help. It may find what you're interested in, but you definitely can't find yourself, because that's something I'm kind of going through right now. I'm trying to find who I am. I already have a good sense, but I'm trying to genuinely lock in on who I am. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I feel like on social media, I can't do that. That's why I step back from it. You know what I mean?
And like even besides social media, it's like, bro, we're in our early 20s. Like this
Yeah,
is a
that's
crucial
facts.
point of development. Like just
That's
and
facts.
we-
Early
you
life.
know what I'm saying?
And that's another thing. People always on social media, they're making it seem like, oh, you got to be successful now. You got to be rich now. You got to have a model girlfriend now. And you got to marry her next year. So it's just like stuff like that. I'm tired of that. What you think though about
I don't want to succeed now, to be honest. I want to like struggle even more and more and more. That way, when I do make it, it's gonna feel better.
Real talk,
Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to have. I don't want to have it.
have it right now?
Have it right now.
Yeah, now that's facts. You know, one thing I've been thinking about, I'm like, if you really just step back and your conscience is talking to you and not your ego and your conscience mixed in together, if you just step back, what's your out in the materialistic world, what's your ultimate goal in life? It's to be rich, right?
Wait, if you're just from the ego or just from
Just
the conscience?
ego stand. You want to be rich, right?
I want to be a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
But from one of the main goals is to
Nah,
make millions,
power,
right?
Power. Bro.
You gotta go with you gotta
Rich.
follow
I wanna
me.
be
Yeah,
rich.
you want to be
I want
rich.
it
Just
bad.
say you want to be. Say you want to be
I want
rich,
it
because you're
bad.
gonna see where I'm going. So people like, I really sit down and I try and sit back and think, why do so many people want to be rich? Do people genuinely want to be rich so they can take care of their families, or do they want to be rich so they can tell this person next to me that, oh, I'm rich? You know what I'm saying? And I think,
Bro, look at the
power.
society we live in. You okay? Like when you talk about conditioning, like since you're born, like even advertisements, it's all about like getting higher on the
Yes, being at the
You know what I'm
highest.
saying? So like that, like it's just instilled in us.
that's why I've been thinking. I'm like, is it a way to reverse that thinking? Because of course I would love to be rich, but it's like, am I really doing it for the right reasons? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But what you think about
that
that?
just all comes from back to square one again, sitting with yourself.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
all it comes down to. If you, okay, let's be real. If you want to be rich, it all goes down to like survival. At the end of the day,
That's facts.
because you want to be rich to survive. You want to be rich to have power. You want to have power for what? Survival. You know what I'm saying? So, and even if you're doing like, if you're talking about the competing stuff with other people and the ego and showing I'm better than you, that's again a survival thing. we're human at the end of the day. Biologically, we are wired to do whatever we can to survive. Survival of the fittest is an everyday thing. I want to walk around and be better than, innately. Like that's just how we are.
Let me ask you, just from a whole holistic standpoint, just everything in the world, what do you think makes someone rich?
What you mean rich?
Like, and when I say rich, I don't mean just talking about money. So now every millionaire in the world isn't, in my opinion, isn't rich,
Right.
because what I consider being rich, honestly, is being truly happy with yourself. Because somebody could give us all three of us $1 billion right now, and we could all be depressed, but then got that billion, and it may make us a little bit happy for a little bit. But once you've had that money, once you've driven that fast car and done all the things, are you still depressed, or are you still, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked you, what do you guys think being rich is in life? Because I think it's having people who love you and loving yourself is being rich, you know what I'm saying? Not just a piece of paper. So what you guys think about that?
100%. That
You agree with me?
Yeah, happiness. But we can't sit here and act like financial freedom is not a part of the equation.
Oh, no, facts. That's facts.
Like,
That's facts.
A huge part of it, actually.
That's facts.
Because if you're worried about survival, you'll never really be happy. So.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
But obviously, like happiness, love. Oh, go ahead.
No, to touch on that, bro. I remember, I forgot who I was speaking to, but they were telling me, like, it's impossible to survive and flourish at the same time. Just because you're always trying to, like, fill up this meter, but it's constantly in disarray. So you can't really focus on the main or, like, multiple. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I get you, though. But I think that's something definitely that I try and think about is, like, what really makes you rich? Because would you rather be middle class, like super middle class, super happy, but you're not financially, you're nowhere near poor, but like you have to work hard to get that paycheck to pay your bills? Would you rather that, or just be super duper rich, filthy rich, but then have some stuff wrong with you? Like, which one would you rather?
Personally, I would rather be happy and rich.
Oh yeah, of
You know what
course.
I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm not gonna settle for any of those options that you're asking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can't pick between bad and bad. I want to be able to
Have both. Okay,
Like,
yeah, I
can't
feel
even
that.
think of it as an option. If you give me a would you rather, I'm gonna say no.
Nah, that's actually a good way to look at it. Yeah, because you wouldn't want to pick one or the other. It would just want to both be up. But yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about money and things of that nature. Because do you think money can buy happiness?
Yeah.
You think so?
But
Do you think? So do you think it can buy happiness for a short amount of time, or do you think it
it's
could
still-
definitely make you
because
happy?
Look, emotions, temporary. Happiness, temporary happiness. So like it fills that
Mhm.
satisfaction for
Okay,
the moment.
for sure. What you think?
My thing is like I think there are a lot of people in this world. You know how people always do the money can't buy you happiness, but then there are poor people that are happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're poor and you happy with what you have around you, the people around you, you love yourself, you love your family, and the one thing that's missing is the financial side, money is literally buying you happiness because that's all that's missing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it definitely can. A lot of people go through a lot of shit in their life, and a lot of people don't have the other side that makes you happy while you're poor, but a lot of people do. So if they have that, then money is literally buying the rest of the happiness.
I got a good question for you. Shout out my boy Tyler back home. Don't know if he's watching this, but if you are, shout out to you. He asked me one time. Well, he didn't ask me. We were talking in our podcast. He was like, he went around at his school asking people if money wasn't a thing, like if there was no such thing as money, would you still be doing the same thing you're doing right now? Your career goals and your dreams and stuff, would you still be doing the same thing?
Damn near.
You think so? So like the music, your major, all that, you would still be doing it?
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Because I feel the same way. The stuff I'm doing, I would definitely.
Actually, I don't think I would have stepped into it at first. I wouldn't have.
You
went
wouldn't
to
have.
college.
You wouldn't have looked at. Okay.
Yeah, but now that I'm here, I'm not even looking at it as like I want a future career in this and that. I'm looking at it as this is a beautiful experience and it's something I would genuinely pay for.
And you would do it over again.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you. What about you? Do you think you would still do the same thing you was doing if money wasn't an issue? If money wasn't a thing, not even an issue. If money just wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
you think so?
I think for sure, just because like the shit I touched on or like what I'm doing right now is all stuff like for example with the music, bro. I used to write poetry as a kid, but then like when I would study or like write my papers, I'm listening to beats. It's just one day I put them together. So now it's like, okay, But and then like cooking, bro, like I remember I'm making top ramen. I'm cutting up onions, trying to saute them with the and now look at me. You get what I'm saying?
I didn't even know you cooked. You cook for real?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Bro, I'll be hungry, bro. Whatever.
I feel you, man. I
It's like,
feel
bro,
you.
the lifestyle, bro. It's like we have leftovers, bro. Whatever's in there, you have to eat because like we're not letting that shit to waste. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like.
Nah, I feel you. I think, yeah, definitely touching on my perspective, I would definitely do what I'm doing without money. I mean, I feel like I could be way more free and genuinely do what I want if money wasn't a thing. Because obviously on this podcast, the goal is to get big or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that kind of makes it to where I have to talk about stuff that I know people are going to listen to and that are going to be interested in, not just myself. But if it was up to me, I would just talk about strictly stuff that interests me. And for the most part, I do, but I still have it in the back of my mind that I have to do something so that the people on the internet can be interested as much as I am. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but I think that's definitely a good question. Shout out to my boy. And that just came to my mind. I wanted to ask, and I'm glad you guys are all doing the things that, you know what I'm saying, still make you happy. But kind of transitioning out of like talking about social media and money, I want to talk about get deep into spirituality. So you spoke about it in our last podcast that spirituality is I think you said was one of the most overlooked things in the world. So even though it's been a few months since then, elaborate what you meant by when you said that.
What did I say?
You said, I think you even said, correct me. Oh, my bad, I spit. I think, because I watched it the other day, you said one of the most overlooked things in the world, spirituality.
I don't remember exactly what I meant by that, but if I had to take a guess of what I would interpret that as now, especially given the conversation we're just having, it has to do with sitting with yourself as like a consciousness and a soul. And if you're so invested in your ego and all this social media stuff, you're not sitting with yourself. You're literally overlooking yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think spirituality is just the connection to self, in my opinion. That's all that is. Mm-hmm. So if we're consumed overly in this world, we're overlooking that. And I feel like as a society, we're not only trained to do so, but we're doing so.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you now, you mentioned about your ego. I think this was 3 podcast episodes ago. I'll put it on the screen. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. I was talking about egos and consciousness, your consciousness, excuse me. And I noticed a difference, and I noticed how one influences the other. It's kind of like having an angel on this shoulder and then a devil on this shoulder. I want to ask you both, what are your thoughts about having an ego? How do you lose your ego? How do you inflate your ego in a positive way? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think both are very important and both need to be used the right way. When you educate yourself on what the purpose of each of them is, you go through life and you experience what mistakes you make by trusting one over the other. You find a balance of using both, and they're both, in my opinion, just as important. And that's exactly why we have them. People wake up into spirituality and think they just want to kill their ego and shit. I'm like, bro, what?
Nah, you
have this to survive, and you need, like, we're over here talking about social media and still using it, right? Mm-hmm. This is just an analogy. Like, we're still doing this egotistical stuff, and that's never gonna change. So you have to like learn how to work with both. That's
So what do you think influences your ego, and then what do you think influences your conscious?
Your consciousness is not something that's influenced. It's just something that it is. But your consciousness influences your ego as well. And your whole environment, all your past experiences in your life are what build your ego to what it is. Everything you know mentally, logically, is your ego. Everything you feel intuitively, that gut feeling, is your consciousness.
So in my video that I did, it was just me. I was talking about, I feel like, because I'm religious just as much as I am spiritual, but I feel like God is, you know how people say I can hear God talking? You can't obviously hear him talking, but I feel like he's talking through your conscience to where you're laying in bed at night and you're just, it's no ego, it's just you, and you're seeing like what you're doing wrong with life and then what you're doing good. That's God speaking to you through your conscience. Do you feel the same way kind of on that?
100%. I think, well, this is just my personal opinion on religion to begin with. I think it's just the allegory to kind of show us how we should be living within ourselves.
Oh yeah, definitely.
God is like, I think we're all made in his image. They said it themselves. So I think you have some God in you, and that's exactly what you are talking about, in my opinion. So I think yeah, God is speaking through you. Is speaking through you if you let him.
Definitely. Something you said makes me want to transition into another topic, but I don't want to undermine what you have your opinions on egos and conscience. So what do you think about that? Like, how do you influence your ego? What's the difference between the two, and what's the importance between the two?
Like he was saying, like ego and conscious is kind of like you need them. You know what I mean? And conscious is like, because you have the conscious, subconscious, and the ego fits into that. So it's just like, in a sense, you kind of need ego to survive, depending on circumstances. Just because like you have to thrive off something, and that positive outlet isn't always that resourceful. You know what I mean? And that's just like speaking on like personal experiences. You know what I'm saying? They probably relate. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's just like you have to be able to feed off something, and it's like conscience correlates to awareness. So it's just like you can have a moral conscience, or like some people have different standards. You know?
Right. Definitely. I agree, man. I think both of you guys had good answers, and they kind of both went in hand, and that my answer is kind of the same. Like I said, God influences your conscience and your ego. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that say you got to kill your ego. Not at all times, but you got to kill it. But I like what you said, that you're not gonna, because you need your ego, because sometimes your ego could be where you get your confidence from. Your ego could be where you find out your true passions and things of that nature. So I kind of agree with you on that. But the question that I had when you said your whole speech about the ego and conscience is, you said that what did you say? I think you said that religion and spirituality are both like interconnected, right? Yeah. So I want to ask you, this is something I think about all the time, because I'm a person, I like to question everything that's given to us from an early age. And from an early age, my mom has taught me about the importance of reading the Bible, going to church, and I do those things. I think I got like 10 more chapters in the Bible before I'm finished. So that's an award right there, because I've been reading the Bible since probably like 2019. But I say that to say, I still try and question, like, what am I doing this for? So my question to you guys is, dang, I low-key hold on, I forgot Mark. Hold on. I swear it was a good question though.
Take your time, bro.
It was, dang, what was it? It was
track back.
Religion, God.
Oh yeah, okay. So it was like, okay, I remember. So it was like, you know how people say, oh, you gotta, if you lose your virginity, oh, that's a sin. If you kill people, that's a sin. Blah blah blah. If you don't go to church, quote unquote, that's a sin. If you don't, blah blah blah. Right? What do you guys think about that? Because I kind of feel that spirituality is more how God wants us to live than being religious, to where going to church, we're praising every Sunday. And I'm not saying that I don't do those things, but I'm just saying I think spirituality is more what we should be doing, as opposed to praying every day, doing religious practices. You know what I'm saying? So how do you guys feel about religious practices is pretty much my question.
Like, yeah, because we was just talking about like how you know more about like religious practices than I do, because like me growing up personally, I just never really believed in God, just because like circumstances, so like I questioned as well, you know what I mean? And then growing up and stuff like that, I believe like everybody just like separating like the religion aspect, spirituality exists, because it's like
oh yeah, definitely,
you get what I'm saying? You have the body,
yeah, definitely,
and then it's like once you break down the body, then you can really tap into the mind. Break down the mind, then you can really
exactly.
And it's kind of like, I think of my body kind of like I have this thing around me, and this is the projection. So it's like all the real work is like, you get what I'm saying?
I get, so I liked what you said, that you separate religion and spirituality, because if you think about it, I think about this all the time too, right? Who's to say that a religion is wrong? Because where we're all come from, especially within the black people, Christianity or Catholicism, whatever it is one of the big religions, right? But let's say the circumstances were different. We were born in Iraq. That's all we know is living in Iraq, and whatever they do. Yo, what's good, everybody? This is the second half of the video. I know y'all probably noticed we in different fits now, because last week, I think today's Friday, last Saturday, we was recording this video. The battery died on us, so crazy. And we was really about to get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I check you. I had to check. Never mind. But basically, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do kind of just want to finish up what we were talking about. And I've been telling them that I want to get them back on this so we can further this conversation more. But I just want to talk about what I was saying. So in the time it cut, it's been a week since then, but at the time it cut, I was talking about how, like, religion, if I was born in... I think about that. My bad. If I was born in Iraq, right, and I've been brought up Muslim my whole life, right? Boom, boom, bam, bam. I've learned Islam, all this other stuff, right? Whatever, wearing veils, all whatever this stuff is, right? it's like, dang, I really don't remember what I was saying in that point, bro. I'm sick,
Bro, didn't you bring up like Ukraine or something?
Yeah, but I was like, that's why this sucks that the camera died. But L Backdoor Studios. But basically, I was like saying that when it comes to religion, it's like you really can't control it, because I was speaking about like what makes it. Who are you to say that a religion is wrong?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's
yeah.
like, if you were born in Iraq and all you know is Muslim culture, Islam, all of that stuff, you can't really say like who are you to say, because you can't control where you were born. So I want to ask y'all, what are your thoughts when it comes to religion and spirituality when they come together? I'll start right here. That's a broad question, but just getting back into the conversation so we could, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, setting for sure has a play in it, proximity. And it's just like, for example, you have people who grow up in like Catholic or Christian religions, like, you feel me, generations on generations. And then one day you just have that one black sheep who's like, okay, let me oppose, or let me go dive into a different religion or something like that. So I think it's just, for sure, it's the individual and just like the perception and how you have a look on the world.
Definitely. What you think?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's a lot of manipulation, in my opinion. Like, I grew up in a Catholic household, so like, and I've seen things firsthand and like on the outside from other religions and stuff like that. I think it's just a lot of like, it's just a way to kind of trap people, in my opinion.
Definitely, I think so.
But like, that's not to take away from the original positive intention of it, which was, I think, to kind of be a treasure map or like a blueprint,
Right.
to get into the purpose of life. But I just think it's misconstrued nowadays and taken a little too literally. Like, people talk about sins and, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you sin, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, like, I think we talked about this in the one where I was on a podcast with you, but I think sins are kind of just, like, they're real here. Like, you go to hell here when you do things that you're not supposed to do.
Facts,
you know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah,
I like what you did.
So in that way, it's like a treasure map. So like, you're reading the Bible to kind of get these guidelines that will help you do well, and it kind of tells you what's gonna like go wrong if you do these things. So like the 10 Commandments and things like that. Those are things, when I grew up, I'm like, I'm not trying to do this, like, cause like, who's this book telling me what to do? But when I experienced a lot of negative things by doing a lot of negative things, I kind of felt the results from that. So I just kind of think, like, all religious texts, I feel like serve a great purpose if they're taken the right way.
I agree with you. I also think that, I think I was about to get into that before the camera had cut off on us. I don't really remember, but I was saying that I feel like God's intention on religion should be just giving us a guide on how we should live. So like, saying that you're going to go to hell just because you commit a sin on this one sin on this earth isn't normally the case. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why I think spirituality is more God sent than religion is, because no matter what religion you are, you should know that how the brain and how your heart and your brain and your ego and all of that stuff works. So that's what kind of what I feel about religion. What you think?
Going back to what you said about like, all I remember is you said trapped, right? And then as we're talking about like how some people take it too literal, if we look back into like when the Bible was supposed to be made, or like that era, it was all about rulership and conquer. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so it's
facts.
like whatever you could do to keep the subjects in place is, so like I can see that correlation.
It's different times, definitely. And why do you think, I always wonder this myself, why did they stop writing the Bible? Like, why don't they still write it nowadays? You know what I'm saying? What y'all think about that?
Because in my opinion, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I read the whole Bible and know too much and how it ended. But what I feel like is that it kind of adds to the illusion of how real it is when it's like, oh, this is ancient and this is how it's been from day one. If you write it past day one, it's not a day one text. You know what I'm saying? So it just adds to the validity of it when it's like old and ancient.
Right.
That's what I think.
I agree. But I also think, like, you can't really hold the Bible. I mean, of course you hold the Bible accountable, but everything that was spoken in the Bible is not true today. Because like, if you just think, I saw this online, like in the Bible it says being homosexual is a sin, but nowadays like it's super, well, at least we're trying to be super supportive of the LGBTQ community, and it's like, where's that branch off to where, you know what I'm saying, that white
Nah, bro. This nigga not.
I might have to cut that out. I might.
Somebody behind the camera was laughing.
Yeah, I might have to cut that out just because I don't want. We support all LGBTQ people,
for sure.
but that's not what we were laughing at. But I just like, why does it make a difference nowadays? You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't think that the Bible should always be taken super literal. It should just be a guide to how we should live life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like a big like a thing. We look at this generation, and like it's a lot of people who rebel and A, B, C, and D. And it's kind of like how I was saying last time, that reversal. So like, say you look at a generational reversal, and like the first half of it was like full into the Bible, A, B, C, and D. But now, like as we start to be more aware and we coming into this new world, new age, it's like, okay, we're gonna defy everything in the beginning because like now we have our own thought,
Right.
own freedom. Like we're not constricted by our parents' like practices anymore.
I also think that the living a religious life sometimes can make you not feel free because it kind of promotes living that. Wow, that bro, lock it, bro, please.
Bro, like we got to point the camera around and show y'all like what's really going on.
Come in the camera real quick, bro. Lock in, bro. Come show yourself, man.
Hey, back door employee himself.
Fire this nigga, man.
Don't say it too low. Just say what's up, bro. Just say what's up in the mic, bro.
What's up, everybody? You know, Chike.
Into the mic.
You know?
Get out. Get out, bro. Nah, that was actually crazy what you.
That shit's pretty funny,
bro.
actually.
He's losing me, bro. What was I about to say, bro?
I
Did you see what he was showing?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I have a question. I don't know
What's
if
up, bro?
I was kind of distracted, so I don't know if you touched on
me
this.
too,
but
me too.
what are your thoughts? Like, I don't know if this is something you don't want to get into on your show, but like, what are your thoughts on, like, being someone who grew up as a believer of the Bible and everything that it says, along with like the LGBTQ movement and like what's right and wrong, or like what do you believe? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, one, I feel like my take on it shouldn't matter. Like, if I'm talking about other people in this world, it shouldn't really matter what I think, because when it's time for me to go, I'm the only one that's getting judged in my life. It doesn't matter if this gay person or this straight person is getting judged, because it's only me. But I feel like, I just think that, like I said, I think the Bible is used as a guide. It's not meant, at least nowadays, I don't think it should be meant to be taken literal, because I think, honestly, if people are feel that they like the same gender, that's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that should be a sin. That's just, they love who they love. But it's like back in the day, like you were saying, it was more like under rulers, the people were getting married at 15, having kids and fighting in wars. That's all they were doing. They weren't really as free and as creative as we are as we are now. So that's just how I feel about that. What do you think about that?
I'm kind of trying to get to the understanding of like who has more validity, the people that are like in modern society nowadays, or the Bible. What's more right? Because they're both on totally opposite sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's actually a good question. Who is more right?
And it don't, like you said, it don't really matter at the end of the day.
Because it's
but
just
like,
you.
I'm just curious, because everyone's a collection of their own experiences and perspective. What your experience and perspective has led you to think. I just want to know what you think. You know?
Honestly, that's really a good question.
I know Teray, you have something to say?
Yeah, yes. You say your mind.
Hey, repeat it real quick.
Like, okay, because in this debate, I mean, it's not a debate with me, but like a lot of people debate on this. Like, God said, like
the Bible and then like homosexuals.
Yeah.
Who is more right?
Yeah. More right? Who's actually right?
Who's more right and wrong? Again, that's like perception. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no right or wrong. So I think at the end of the day, we got too many followers and not enough leaders. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like at the end of the day, if you're really confident enough to live your own life, you're not gonna really, you feel?
So I think I'm just asking it to see, does this take away from the validity of the Bible? Because it's like, if you can go against what it says and be very happy and still live a fulfilled life, what does that say about the Bible?
That's really a good question, bro.
But the Bible and like the Quran, like different, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Quran, but from what I'm assuming, I don't think they condone that stuff.
But like what I'm saying is like you have a lot of different books that like a lot of different teachings, but like circulate around the same thing, or like same conceptually, different terminology. So it's just like, you know what I mean? Which one you gonna pick?
To answer that question, I think not forget what the Bible says, but like just taking the Bible out of the equation, I think whatever you in your soul and your conscience thinks is right is what's right. So if a person genuinely in their soul, they're not doing it because of what anybody else says, they genuinely like the same sex. That's just for an example. I think that's what should be right to them, because if it feels right to them, then it should be right. Who's to say, like the Bible? To be honest with you, we don't even know we know who wrote it, but for all we know, that those people could have just been regular people like us and not actually had divine inspiration from God. So it's like you have to take that with a grain of salt. Like, even though I believe in the Bible and I believe in its teachings, I still take it with a grain of salt because we can't prove that that's end all be all. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like what you feel in your conscience and your soul is what's right. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and if your conscience or soul can go against what the rule book, quote unquote, is for the conscience and soul that we received, does that take away from the validity of that text?
I don't think, at least how I look at it, no, because I remember what we said in our first podcast. You was speaking about like how a lot of the stories in the Bibles are allegories,
Right.
and I think that's pretty much what it is. Not even just the story of Jesus and Genesis and all of that we know. Well, we know Genesis that didn't actually happen. I mean, like what Adam and Eve, we know that didn't actually happen, but the allegory that it means, it sticks with us, and I think that's how pretty much all of the Bible is, you know, because it's like no one was physically there to see it happening. You can't really. That's where your faith comes in. You can't believe in something that you haven't seen, touched, experienced, or whatever it is. So that's why I think I just take a lot of the lessons in the Bible as an allegory. Because I pat myself on the back. I'm almost done with the Bible. I've read pretty much all the Old Testament, and I've read all the Gospels. I think I have like 10 more books, so that's a big accomplishment. So I've obviously thought about this a lot, but just I think I use it as allegories, long story short, to where like I still have my own. I place the stories that I learned into my own life, and then I leave it up to what I think is right.
So
and
you strip the wisdom from whatever you need. And just
definitely, because like if you look at the story of Jesus, like obviously he was perfect, you know what I'm saying, and it's impossible to be perfect, but a lot of the morals and values you had, like I still take that with me, like inspiring other people, which is something I'm doing on this podcast, being nice, you know, nice to people, kind, genuine, you know, whatever it is. But that's just an allegory, and that's how that story taught me how I should be living, you know what I mean? It's a deep subject, I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of want to talk about religion more, just religion as a whole in one podcast episode, but just, you know, that's just how it is. But kind of moving out of religion, unless you guys had any more final thoughts on that, I want to talk about y'all did the same thing. That's crazy. But I want to talk about, because I don't want to make this episode too long, like I said, and we already had a camera die. So, but I just want to ask you just kind of some final thoughts. I want to ask, for people who are trying to become the best version of themselves, how should they do that? And I started with you last time. I'll start right here. How do you think a person could become their best self? And I feel like that's an everlasting battle, because you're never. It really doesn't. Can't say you've won the battle until you're in
Best version.
in your afterlife. But like, how do you think? What are some steps a person could take?
I think the first step is going through a lot of stuff.
Definitely.
And that's something you don't even have to consciously do. It'll happen to you.
Oh, definitely.
You know.
Facts.
And then I think the second step after that is being able to accept that, understand that, and like reflect on trauma and like just clean up the dirt. That's the second step. And the third step is just be what you want to be. That's how I was like kind of summarize it.
Definitely. What about you? What you think?
How to get the best self. Yeah, like how y'all was saying, it really don't end until you in the dirt, you know? And it's like,
it's always a way to get better.
Yeah, and like when you look at the self, bro, like you can break it down in so many aspects, whether it's just physically, mentally, or like spiritually, you know what I mean? So it's like, I would say your best self is like all three of those aspects. At like, but how to attain that, bro? It's discipline like a mother, bro. Like, and I it's something I'm trying to learn right now, is like playing with my diet, playing with my mental in a sense, because I will admit, bro, over quarantine, like that was when I really got time by myself.
Right.
And like another reason a lot of people don't really know themselves is because they're surrounded by family. And that's because you have a cushion. So you don't really have to know yourself, because you got people to know you for you. And you get what I'm saying? But it's like once you really grow and like you're in a position to where like, okay, I really have to be conscious of my decisions, or like, you feel me, A, B, C, and D, it's like, hey, all in all, boy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Man.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said when you said, I know my point, but I forget what you said specifically. But I think, when you spoke about being alone and having that cushion with your family, I think the best way to become the best version of yourself is spend time alone, because the mind gets crazy, and it's like, being around people who make you feel comfortable or people who make you feel bad or whatever it may be, I feel like that's not going to get you any better. So I think just having that time to yourself, because a wise person, I heard him say one time, he's a YouTuber, one of the people that got me into like spirituality, he said that all of the answers are within. all the answers to life are within you. And I really sat there and pondered on that. And I'm like, that's kind of true, because when you go through experiences, you learn, and then all of that information is coming from within. It's not coming from a textbook that your teacher told you. It's coming from within. So I think just spending that time alone with yourself, that's where you get to learn your answers. You get to learn maybe why you get mad at people when they do something to you, or you learn why you feel like you're a materialistic person, and then you're able to fix that and move on. You know what I mean? So what do y'all think about that?
Real quick to touch back on it, like a lot of people need to resolve the trauma they've gone through in their lives, and it's like it's kind of like a beautiful lie or that hurtful truth. But it's like, this is gonna make you grow. But a lot of people want to be comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts. It takes some work too.
And it's bro, you have to learn the duality of self ultimately, because like not everything is just
I get you. It's that. What you think?
All I'm gonna say is, bro, if you want to walk in some clean shoes, you gotta take the dirty ones off first to put the new ones on.
That's getting clipped. Say what you mean by that, man. Say what you mean.
Basically, everybody want to boss up, but don't want to get rid of the bum inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying everybody's a bum, but there's a lot of stuff people go through that they don't even know they go through, or that they know that they go through, and it affects them every day.
And they don't fix it.
Yeah, they don't fix it, because being alone is scary when you go through your life. So they surround themselves with people, make themselves comfortable, like what Teray was saying, with family. But when people are afraid of being alone, they're avoiding it because they know what they're going to be alone with.
No,
and
they're not ready for that talk, though.
Yeah.
Because that's some real stuff right there.
Yeah, you got to know what's making you.
And that's kind of why, like, that's the one thing I emphasize when you asked me the question at first, because without that first thing, you can't do the rest. Like, sitting by yourself is going to be a nightmare. And, like, you can go to the gym and clean up your diet and all that. You're going to be a beautiful lie, like Teray said.
Because you only broke the physical. Now you got to touch on the mental.
Yeah.
That's facts, bro. That's actually a really good point, because like you said, like, just going to the gym and eating healthy and getting off social media is not enough. You really got to go through them dark days where it's just you, and it's just you and your thoughts. It's you versus your thoughts, your conscience versus your ego, and you got to come out that battle alive. You know what I'm saying? It's easier said than done, but it's like you really got to. I think just becoming the best version of yourself, you can't think it's just gonna happen in a month. You can't think it's gonna happen in a year. You can't think it's gonna happen in 10 years, because like we said, it's an everlasting battle until you in the dirt. So I think just understanding that anything you want to become the best version of yourself is gonna take hours and hours and hours. And there's going to be days where you get setbacks, but there's going to be days where you go forward. But it's just like having that focus and having that patience is what you really need. And I think both y'all had some good points. Would you about to say something?
I was going to look into the camera, try and get real deep for a second. But, like,
get deep.
Yeah, y'all really got to take action. Because at the end of the day, like, you can have whoever you want around you. They don't want to see you win. And, like, if you don't want to see yourself win more than motherfuckers around you, you don't want it that bad. And I promise you. So just hang it up. Like, and I don't know what it is, but when I see people who aren't full-heartedly, like, for example, like, you can't tell me you love the rain but hate when your clothes get wet. You get what you're saying? Like, it don't make sense. It's a contradiction in itself.
That's two. Y'all had three bars. That's crazy. But keep going. What you mean by, like, I obviously know what you mean, but keep going. What you mean by you can't love the rain, but you can't hate when your clothes get wet. Keep going.
It's kind of like you can't just admire something and then call it beauty. Like, you have to know the ins and outs. You got to be able to really, like, connect with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, fully be able to. You got to be willing to sacrifice your life for what you love, or else you really don't love it. If we keeping it a band, because, like, if you ask a lot of, especially people our age, a lot of people depressed, A, B, C, and D, don't want to live, but y'all still living with lack purpose. Huh? So find purpose, or continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Exactly. Kind of piggybacking off the quote that you said about the rain, I say that to say that it's a good and bad to everything, and which kind of coincides with what you said, because you can't want to have these millions of dollars and be on top of the world, be the most influential person, and then not be willing to go through them days where it's super dark when it's just you, and you put in them hours and it feels like nothing's getting better. You can't have one without the other. And if you just look at everything in life, there's a good and bad to everything. There's a good and bad to money. There's a good and bad to family. There's a good and bad to having relationships, whatever it may be. It's a good and bad to everything. So I think just thinking that you're going to go into something and it's just immediately going to be all good, that's not a good way to look at it, you know what I'm saying? And that's going to hinder you becoming the best version of yourself. So if you guys have any more thoughts about that topic, feel free to say them, and then we're just going to wrap it up so the video is not too long. But you got anything?
Like a quote or something?
Nah, just on the topic we were talking about. I'm going to get into that, but just on the topic. If not, it's cool because I expect y'all to be back soon, at least within the next month and a half or so. But yeah.
No, I think that was a great note to end on.
Okay, well, we not done yet because here on Jayden Hanzy Talks, we got to leave with motivation. Even though we've been doing that the whole episode, I kind of just, for you that's new, I like to say a quote or just paraphrase a quote that to leave the viewer off with. So I'll start off and let y'all think. But I guess my quote of the day, not even quote, but just my advice of the day is, think when you're going through any situation in life, think about your perspective, because your perspective is what controls everything in this world. Now, especially when you're going through, like, maybe let's say I'm arguing with this person. Am I putting myself in their shoes to understand why they feel some type of way? Or am I just thinking of only my perspective is the only right perspective? So I would say just try and change your perspective, because everything in this life is perspective. There's nothing, think anything, just think anything is perspective. It's just how you feel. Like, for example, me not having the most money right now, I could be like, dang, I really wish I was rich. I would just be so happy if I was rich. But then a rich person is looking at me and is like, dang, I really wish I didn't have to be careful every time I walk out and go to the movies. I wish I didn't have to pay so many in taxes. I didn't have to feed so many people. So it's just like, just control your perspective, because like I said earlier, everything's a good and a bad. So that's what I would say for today. What y'all think? That's heavy right there. That's heavy. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
I just got one line.
I still need something from you.
I just got one line. I'm going to just take it from one of my songs coming out this year.
Yes, sir.
Don't hate the player or the game. Go to practice.
What you mean by that, though? Just a little bit what you mean. It don't got to be too long.
A lot of people say don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't think you should hate either one. Just go to practice. Do better. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, for sure.
Everybody could be from the game for everybody.
Yeah, facts. What you think, though? What's your advice you want to leave off with?
Hey, a man isn't considered a failure until he says he is.
That's facts.
We gonna end on that note. A man ain't a failure until he says he is. Don't hate practice or the game. No, that's my bad. I don't want to butcher what you said. Don't hate the game. Yeah, don't hate the game player or the game. Just go to practice. So I just want to say, I'm super sorry that it got cut off. I promise you the flow of the episode was way better before the camera had died, but that's just something that we working for. Like I said, it's good and bad to everything. I love this podcast, but I still go through some bad stuff. But I'm just happy that I can able to bring content like this to you, because it's really coming from the soul. I really enjoy doing this despite all of the bad that I may come across. But I just want to say thank you to the people I have next to me. For all you know, it's always amazing. He's back in the future, and you too, man. I appreciate it. It's just been good vibes all the time. And I want to say, really say, both of these guys make music, and they're both really, I already know they're both really talented. So y'all make sure, if y'all mess with me, go tap in with them. So I want y'all to shout out y'all music and your Instagrams and anything else y'all have. Just shout it out so they can know again.
Everything with me, Raylan's the one.
And I'll put your Spotify on the screen as well. And then what about you,
bro? I don't have anything.
I know you don't have. Get on him too. Get on him. Go to his Instagram and get on him. Tell him we need some music. But
nothing is out. But
it's coming soon though.
Coming soon.
End
of this year. Artist name Frada.
Yes.
Instagram name I already put in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen for you again too.
Frada, when we finna get a collab going?
Yeah, we already got a song in the vault.
I wasn't gonna tell them that.
Yeah, when that song release, I'm gonna have to get y'all back on here for promo, so y'all go listen to that. But yeah, if y'all mess with me, like I say, with all my guests, if you mess with me, go follow them. And yeah, I appreciate it. Comment down if you made it this far in the episode. And I love y'all, and we just gonna keep grinding, keep growing, keep becoming the best version of ourselves. Yes, thank you.
This the go right here.